podcast begins. It's
Is that
episode, what episode is this?
16.
16. One of those. And it's Monday, May 14th, the day after Mother's Day.
Mm-hmm.
Hope you all had a good time with your mothers.
I don't have a mother.
Yeah, unless your mom's a huge bitch. And
Yeah.
then
Whoa.
tell her to fuck off.
That escalated really
There you
quick.
go.
Or if your mom's dead, then that's too bad.
I don't have her phone number.
We're covering all
so-
our bases.
So, you know. But for most people, I'm sure you had a fine Mother's Day.
Man, I got on Reddit and someone posted that they were like, I fucking hate Mother's Day because I have 2 dead babies. And I was like, oh man, this
Jesus.
is intense.
That's some heavy shit.
Yeah, that was my experience of Mother's Day. Like, I did nothing else other than find that like Reddit post about dead babies, and I was like, oh, okay,
That's like exactly what Reddit is, though, isn't it?
it's
Just like
dead babies. Reddit's just dead babies.
I fucking hate Reddit.
I hate that fucking place.
But I'm
Really?
so yeah, I hate it, but I'm also on it all the time.
I see it
I'm
like
on it less than I used to, but I hate it still. I hate how much I'm on it.
I don't know, like compared to other places, like I would rather read Reddit than Tumblr.
I mean, I didn't really use Tumblr ever.
I haven't personally either, but I've always had a significant other that used Tumblr really heavily. And I was just like, what? Every time I was scrolling down, it was just like a mix between like porn and like furry shit.
That's like what Reddit is. If you
Not-
browse where it's not like
I look at gaming subreddits and then like occasionally I'll look at the front page and just read whatever bullshit's on there. But it's never like Supernatural season 14 fan fiction, which is like
Yeah.
what I feel like Tumblr devolves into.
I don't know. My problem with Reddit is it ends up being like the same shit over.
Yeah, it's just not funny anymore. It used to be funny. I guess I just used to be stupid.
Well, you also like it was new.
It was
Like,
more correct. No, because like I remember when I first got on Reddit in high school, and like I still thought Rage comics were funny.
Oh,
And like when
Jesus.
memes were just like a picture of an animal with text underneath.
Yeah.
That was just like lay epic bacon.
Yeah,
And
you
I was
just
like, oh my god, dude.
I mean,
But it's still people still post like Ron Swanson shit, and they're just like, oh, lay epic bacon, man, and it's like people are so hype about it.
That was a dark time.
You know.
what's an alternative? What's an alternative garbage pit to Reddit? Like where else?
Just
What's
get rid of the
better?
garbage bin.
Yeah, just
No,
not a
it's-
garbage pit. Like just like read a book or
Yeah.
like go outside.
Yeah, take a walk. Make a
That's-
nice lunch.
Like yeah, there's so much better shit you could be doing.
All right, so Reddit still serves a purpose. It is the best of the garbage pits.
I would say what I like about Reddit is I don't have to go to 50 different websites to get like my daily news. You know what I
I
mean?
think that Reddit is probably one of the best places to talk about sports on the internet because just like there's no other good place to talk about sports on the internet.
Bro, my whole account has like almost negative karma because it's just me shit posting. Like not like good shit posting, but like thinly veiled me trolling. And then people get in the comments, and I just don't care enough to argue.
That's
I don't
what
really-
it's for. It's for
I don't-
shit posting.
I don't post unless I have a question. Like if I'm playing a game or WoW or whatever, I'm like, if I have a question,
Oh, I
then
have a
I'll post
question.
on Reddit.
It's just like bot lane. Why are you inting? Is my question
Oh.
that I post to Reddit, and I want them to answer me.
Great.
So you just post shit to League of Legends, it gets immediately banned.
I just get immediately fucking like my post is taken off the fucking page. Those mods are on point. I don't know if I've ever had a post last longer than
Probably
5
just
minutes.
auto mod. They probably just see your name and immediately know
Yeah, they're
to
just like,
fucking
hey,
cut
fuck
that
that
shit
guy.
out.
I mean, you said sports. I'm like, I don't know what I'd do without my prog metal Reddit. I'm like, I don't know how I would find. I
Oh,
found
I'm too
so much-
elitist to get my music info from Reddit anymore.
Oh, really?
Oh.
I did back in the day, but now I think everything on Reddit is
He gets
pretty
his
shit.
from
so.
smoke signals.
How do you find
Pass it
like
down.
new music?
I like look for it on my own. It's like I just like listen to like an album, and if I like it, then I look at the people who are involved, like the other musicians and the record label, and look those up, and click on those bands.
Oh, okay.
And then sometimes Spotify puts like 1 or 2 good songs in like the recommended playlist. It's like,
So-
oh, okay.
So you
Okay.
take like a very active approach.
Yeah,
to
like I
searching
spend time
new
looking up.
music.
new
I
music.
spend time looking at Metal Sucks and Prog Metal Reddit, and then I dig through that.
Well,
and
it's
try to
okay. So it's
find-
not that it sucks. It's just that like so everything has a bias. So it's just like I'll look at like the Reddit metal subreddits when I want to look at like death and black metal, because like if you go onto the metal subreddit on Reddit, like according to them, like the greatest genre of metal is death and black metal. You know, so if you're like trying to find some other shit, like
to be
like
fair,
I want
I'm specifically looking at prog metal.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying is that like the metal subreddit like does not really like prog music.
That's fair.
And like people like to shit on Between the Buried and Me there a lot and other stuff like that. So like, you know, so like if you were to go there, you would never have that opinion. You would never like Between the Buried and Me if you like got all your opinions from there. It's like the same people get all their opinions from like Fantano, you know.
Yeah.
Old melon.
Old melon head. I mean, I still like to watch his videos.
Yeah.
And like I love watching the videos where he gives negative reviews. It's so fun to listen to him like rip on an album that I also hate.
Yeah.
It's so good. But I occasionally agree with him too.
There's sometimes where like he'll recommend something and he'll be like, "This is you gotta listen to this." And I'll listen to it. I'm just like, "How does anybody like this?"
Yeah, I listen. I usually go and like try to listen to all this shit that he rates above like an 8 or above.
Right.
But I don't like most of it. Like.
Yeah, it's taste is a real fucking thing.
Or it's just like some shit that I was already excited about. Like, you know, it's like, oh, the new Thundercat album. It's like, yeah, I knew it was going to be amazing because Thundercat only makes good music.
And I think specifically with like you go into the prog metal subreddit, there's some like the smaller subreddits can be worthwhile just because it's like a smaller community.
Yes.
But things like if you go to our games, it's just the same shit. Hey, what is your, what's the game that's super popular that you don't enjoy? 100% every top comment is The Witcher 3 every time.
Well,
I just hit my mic. It's just like it's so repetitive and there's nothing like.
That's right. I mean,
new.
maybe I'm not looking at any of the top level ones, so I don't find that bad. I'm always on like prog metal Reddit or like MMO Reddit. Or,
yeah, Reddit
like,
gets exceedingly worse the more people are on the subreddit.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, that's fair. If I'm playing a specific game, then it's gonna be the WoW Reddit, Destiny Reddit, whatever.
Well, I mean, like
It's always
Like the more niche the subreddit, the better it is.
But that's why I love it is that I can find targeted discussion on things that I want to learn about. Or
I mean, I'm not saying if there's not a point Reddit. I'm just saying like as much time as I'm guessing you don't browse just the front page all the time.
very rarely, if I'm really bored.
So like I will
Then I
browse the front page all the time. So it's just like
Sure. Okay.
constantly.
I understand where our differing opinions
Yeah.
on this are coming from. Then.
But you were talking about browsing like certain game subreddits. I find if I'm trying to enjoy a game, like if I bought Destiny 2, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to enjoy it, I wouldn't go on that subreddit because there's no way. Like, I mean, there may be like a couple positive posts, but chances are it's going to be like, hey, this is the latest video from this guy that says Destiny 2 sucks. You should watch it.
Oh, well, it's actually overwhelmingly positive right now, but I'll get into
On
that
Destiny 2?
Yeah, I'll get into that.
Yeah, because they just had like a big update.
Yeah,
you know,
but I
that people are excited about. Because the thing is that Destiny 2 now has been out long enough that all the people who shit on it are like
Correct.
done, and they're
Yeah.
moved on to shitting on to the new thing that
Yep.
everyone likes to hate.
I still see videos that are like.
So the only people who are still there are like, you know, they're really into it.
Yep.
I still see videos of people that posted like a week ago that were like, hey, Destiny 2 is a dead game, and here's why.
All right. Do you guys just want to dive into Destiny?
I mean,
Yeah,
might as
let's
well.
talk about it. It went on sale in the Humble Bundle,
It-
$12.
yeah.
It's still on sale. right?
But apparently
That's the initial hook.
Yeah, that's the hook because like you need the DLC, right?
Well, yes.
Because it
For
fractures the
all-
player base, right?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
all intensive
Yeah,
purposes.
that's a terrible fucking thing.
Yeah,
but,
if I bought Destiny 2, how many hours do I get out of it?
As of right now, a lot.
I think it's worth $12.
Yeah.
But
You
like,
would have to spend.
you don't get
30
the
to
full
the-
Destiny experience without the
No,
DLC.
you don't. But if you just spent $12, you'd probably get about 15 to 20 hours out of it.
See, that seems
worth to me.
it seems worth it.
Played the demo and the game is fun.
Yes,
it
if
wor-
I took the Destiny name off of it, it would be fine.
If we're talking about like time per dollar with Destiny, I would say 100% across the board, it's worth it. It's
Yeah.
$12 for the base game. I'd say that gets you 15 to 20 hours, depending on how much side activities you do. If you want to level an alt, if you buy in, you like it, you spend $35 to get both expansions, which is the race, and now you're up to $47. You're talking about possibly hundreds of hours. So I think, and there's no pay to win. There is some cash shop stuff. It's all cosmetic. In terms of like price or dollar per like entertainment value, it's in a really good place.
So I guess my only hang up would be you buy the base game for $12.
Yeah.
And so it's easier for us to look back at it. I remember our first podcast, we covered Destiny 2, or talked about it at least.
Yeah.
The demo had just come out, I think.
Yeah.
But none of us really bought it when it came out.
None of us bought it. But back then, it was just the base game and none of the DLC. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's easily... I can understand why people are angry at the game because, like, shitting on it, they had good reason to shit on it. And,
Yes.
like, now if I was to buy Destiny 2, I wouldn't buy it on the Humble Bundle. I would just wait for, like, you know, a big-ass
Complete
expansion.
edition.
Yeah, it'd be like, hey, here's all the DLC for, you know, 40 some odd bucks. Because, like, I mean,
But
now...
I mean, that's what it is now, though, right? Is like you're getting because this game is going to have It's essentially it's a game as a service model. Like this game is going to continue to have expansions up
Yeah.
until Destiny 3.
But isn't Destiny 3 going to come out in like 2 years max?
I mean, something, because they're required
It
to make a Destiny.
totally
3, right?
depends. I think Destiny 1 had a lot more foundational issues than Destiny 2 had, so I could see Destiny 2. Destiny 1 was just kind of like broken from its core from the beginning.
Yeah, but
whereas Destiny 2's foundation's a lot stronger, so I would say maybe more like 3 to 4 years for Destiny 3.
My problem with that is people, at the end of Destiny 1, it was a good game, right?
Yes, Taken King was good.
But at the beginning of Destiny 1, it was kind of the same thing that Destiny 2 is,
Mm-hmm.
where there
Okay.
was a drought of content, all that stuff, and then when, you know, they advertised Destiny 2, you know, at least personally, when I see the name Bungie, I still get, you know, Halo fucking, like, vibes. Like, I'm still like, this is a good company, but it's really not the
So,
same people.
yeah.
And then Destiny 2 has, like, almost exactly the same problems as Destiny 1, sometimes worse, sometimes better, but it's like they learn nothing
Okay.
from Destiny 1.
So this is where it gets, I guess, a little bit interesting, and I hopped on. I think like this $12 thing was like, I think the right point to hop on is this patch or this expansion 2 Warmind is kind of comparable to a lot of like the positive feedback that Division started getting when it released its big update that remedied a bunch of things.
Right.
There's not a content drought necessarily anymore. All those things a lot of those complaints that were from the original Destiny 2, which was people reaching the power cap of 300 like really quick and they have nothing to do.
Yeah, like within a week, right?
Yeah, that's all been fixed in this expansion. Essentially, now what you have is a soft cap of 345 and then a hard cap at 385, and getting to 385 is hard as fuck.
I guess my problem with that and that comparison is Division's the first game in that series. Like,
Sure.
it's if Division 2 launched with the same problems that Division 1 had, I would be more pissed, right?
Yeah.
But it feels like Bungie made Destiny 2. I mean, they had development problems, right? With both versions, but it's like they made it, and then they had the same fucking problems, and it's going to be the same DLC model where it's like, yeah, if you actually want a good game, you have to buy all the DLC. It's like, I don't know.
I understand that, but
it was the same thing with
I
the
don't
first
know.
game.
I don't know how that's different than any other MMO or anything in terms of like games as a service. I don't know how that's any different. Like, no game can you buy the base version and get a full experience.
Right, but I'm
in
like,
that genre.
what game? Like, I guess I'm legitimately trying to think of one. What other game as a service is like Destiny, where it's like the original launched with a drought of whatever shit, and then like they patched in a whole bunch of DLC that you had to buy, and then the second version of the whole game came out and it had the exact same problems. Like, they learned nothing.
I mean, technically, Division is the same way, where you buy the base game for somewhat cheap, you get to end game, and then if you want to do any of the raids or the horde style mode, the underground mode, the randomized dungeons, if you want to do any of that content, which is kind of vital for like progression,
Right.
you have to buy the DLC, which is all priced $15
Once
to $20.
again, my point is there is no Division 2. Like,
Sure, but
and
I guess in terms of like, yeah, judging it on its past, and that's a fair criticism, and I understand where that's coming from. I guess because I have not been playing it the whole time, all the way through, and I'm just joining in now,
Yeah.
I'm more impressed by the current state of the game
Okay.
than I'm that shit. You're right. I also just for myself don't care because this
Yeah,
is the point where I hopped on, so my experience has been overwhelming.
and I'm guessing you haven't played Destiny 1.
I played Destiny 1 at launch It was not great. And then I
Right.
played Taken King, which everyone like loved, and I beat Taken King through the campaign, and then the end game never hooked me. This time around with Destiny 2 with Warmind, I'm pretty hooked. For the first time ever, I hopped in a raid and saw what all the buzz was about Destiny raids, and it is fucking cool. It's really good content.
It sounds cool, and like, I wish Bungie all the best because I feel like there's a severe drought in FPS MMOs on consoles. I mean, I guess just in
there's
general.
a drought across the board.
Yeah,
I mean, it's still a relatively like fresh genre for the
Anthem's
most part.
coming out though.
Oh yeah, but God knows if that did they delay that?
I think it did get delayed again, but yeah, it'll probably be shitty when it comes out though. It'll be loaded with microtransactions.
You think we're seeing it at E3? What shit do you guys think we're seeing at E3?
Oh,
I'm praying to the gods that there's gonna be some kind of like Pokemon thing, but there won't be.
Yeah.
So what do I think there's gonna be? Well, there's gonna be Smash Bros for sure, and I'm hype about that.
Okay, this is gonna sound dumb. Is Nintendo presenting at E3? For some reason, I thought they weren't.
They do like a Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they're at E3 with
Okay.
like they have like shows like the Treehouse and all that shit is there.
Right.
They're gonna be doing a tournament with people playing the new Smash, like Mango and Zero and other famous
That's
Smash
really cool.
players. Like eight of them I think got invited to play it. So they're gonna show that for sure, the new Smash. I don't know, maybe like possible Zelda DLC. I don't know if they said that they're done with Zelda or not, like for sure. And then we've got Bethesda talking about Rage 2,
Bethesda's
right?
technically
Yeah.
not E3. Like they're
The same
it's
kind
the
of
night
thing.
before. Yeah.
Yeah.
They,
Well,
they
it's-
almost
yeah.
like go out of their way to make it look like they are part of E3. Just
Yeah,
'cause,
without
like,
having to fucking pay all that.
Yeah.
But I
dumbass
read that
money.
it was going to be like their longest. press
Might not be
conference
now.
yet. Why?
because so many games got leaked on through Walmart.
Walmart leaked a bunch of
Canadian
them.
Walmart.
Right.
Things.
Yeah, Rage 2, and I don't know what other Bethesda.
That's the only one that's been leaked
Yeah.
that was confirmed.
So they're going to show Red Dead 2 a lot. People are hyped for that. I didn't play Red Dead 1, so
Red Dead 1
was
is
a good game.
amazing.
yeah.
It is probably still one of my
I wonder
favorite
how
like,
you can
open
play it.
world single player
You
games.
can emulate it somehow.
You can probably emulate it. Dude,
Um,
what I liked so much about that game was the fucking online mode.
Mm-hmm.
That was really fun.
I didn't care for the online that
Really?
much. No, I that was one of the few like open world single player games where I actually beat the story though.
That's fair.
It was very good. In terms of emulating it, the PS3 emulator is in a somewhat functional state for some games, but I know Demon Souls is running well on the PS3 emulator now. But I don't know if Red Dead is.
Yeah, I don't think
sure.
there is an easy way to play it unless you get like an Xbox One and then just a regular copy of Red Dead and play it that way.
Yeah, backwards compatibility.
Or go buy a
Yeah.
PS3.
Yeah.
I have a PS3.
You know,
sitting
it's fucked
somewhere.
up that they don't just make their consoles backwards compatible.
Uh-huh.
I think
Yeah.
it's because it's hard. Like
Yes.
it would make it like slightly more expensive, but also like emulation is like CPU intensive.
Yeah, it's because entire like architectures are changing. Like it's a complete
Yeah.
different chipset and everything. Like 32-bit versus 64-bit consoles are not like pre PS4 and Xbox One. They became like traditional desktops, but before that, they were just all types of weird combinations of hardware and like programmed very specifically for those consoles. So like making things backwards compatible is a huge task. Which is why you saw things like PS Now and streaming pop up before you did.
Yeah, we're gonna see
Proper.
Nintendo talk about their online service, which is a fucking,
Yeah.
as it seems right now to me, like a fucking.
It.
Oh my god!
It's just like-
it makes me mad. It makes me sad.
Do you have to get like an app or something?
You still need the app to like talk to your friends, which is just gonna be like the dumbest shit ever. Because it's like, why don't you just get Discord on your phone then?
Right.
Which
Which is going to be a better chat software.
Yeah, it works better and it has more features and everything. And you have to like they're gonna give you. They haven't announced. Well, they said the virtual console is not coming back, but people take that to mean that they're not calling the virtual console anymore. But there is gonna be like backwards compatible classic Nintendo games available. They're giving you, when you sign up for the subscription, it's like it's like $20 for a year.
Yeah, I heard it was super cheap.
It's super cheap, so that's like one thing, but like still it's like $20 a year for like what? For nothing? Like just to go online?
You can go online and then you get 20 some odd SNES.
Yeah, they give you like 10 original NES games, which are like, I don't know, who's fucking hyped to play like OG Super Mario Bros.
I mean, I'm sure there's
1, 2, or 3, you know? But like, no, but like, how many fucking ways can you play Super Mario Bros. 1 right now?
I feel like it would be...
Like, no, it's like nothing.
But if
it's
you were,
like literally
if you
nothing.
grew up on it, right?
I don't know. It seems like a waste to me. I don't know.
I agree with that. I mean, I'm more interested on how they're going to take... You basically get it for free right now, and now it's going to be paid starting in September, so it's kind of like... I wonder what we're going to do about that. Like, I wonder how people are going to take it. I think that'll be interesting. But I don't know. I mean, I wish it all the best. I feel like Nintendo makes a lot of stupid decisions, and hopefully they can turn this one around.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like is this not just like the Wii happening all over again, where like Nintendo has a hugely successful console in their hands, and then like the popularity of it just like slowly and quality slowly decline.
The Wii, like, first off, the Wii is like one of the greatest selling consoles of all time. Still.
Okay, see, I think a lot of people have very differing opinions on that, but sure.
Okay.
What do you mean, like greatest of all time? Like in terms of like
sales?
Yes.
Like the
In
money
sales.
that it
In
made
sales,
for Nintendo.
yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
In sales, yes, but the
That
overall
it made
perception
money
of the
for
Wii.
Nintendo. Okay, and no, like what I'm saying is that like with the Wii, like the reason that it died was because they made a console for casuals, thinking that they're like, yeah, we can just make a console for casual players, and they're gonna like buy games all year, you know. So, like, of course the Wii was gonna die, like, soon after it came out. You know, like, the only notable games that came out on the Wii were, like, fucking first-party exclusives, like Mario, Zelda, fucking...
I mean, that's
and,
a
like,
lot
niche
of
games.
Nintendo's library, though, right?
Isn't that? I guess my question isn't that what's happening with Switch right now? Like the Odyssey hit, Breath of the Wild hit, and now I'm hearing basically nothing about the Switch.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing going on with it right now, but, I don't know. They're going to talk about a lot of games at E3. Like, Octopath Traveler looks good. I mean, if you're into JRPGs, I know you're not, but,
Yeah, I am. I saw Octopath Traveler.
Octopath Traveler looks good. And that's a Square Enix game. And they're like, I think they're pushing their like indie shit a lot, which I'm totally fine with. I'm like tired of fucking paying $60 for games.
Yeah.
Like, especially when like you can get a $20 game that is like as good, like better in terms of like hours and like how much fun it is, like an indie game. I just keep thinking of Hollow Knight, like that game is only $20. It's fucking insane that like they want to charge you $60 to play these like shitty ass games that they're putting out. Yeah. But anyway, back to Nintendo. Like the Wii, like yeah, it died that way, but like still people played it like all the way to the end. And with the Switch, I don't know. It's just like such a novel idea, you know, that you can have like basically a console in your hands. That like it's gonna have staying power just through like ports, you know. Like people are excited to play Doom again on their Switch because like yeah, I could play it anywhere I want to. So like that's gonna like keep it relevant, I think, in between the times that like big games come out for it. But I don't know what they're gonna do about like trying to get third party, like big time third party games on it. Because they've got the Rayman games too, which are like really good games.
Yeah.
On the Switch, and like they're doing the was it Rabbids, the Mario Rabbids, like XCOM game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What was that thing called?
Yeah. Kingdom Battle, something like that.
Something. I'm thinking Kingdom Come Deliverance or whatever. Which
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah. But I don't know. Nintendo said they're like more committed. Like they're talking about because not just the Wii, but the Wii U was like a humongous failure. Mm-hmm. And there is now different leadership at Nintendo, like making decisions. They just appointed like a new
Yeah,
president.
I heard about that.
But that's because like the guy who was in charge was only ever supposed to be like,
the
interim.
The new president's fluent in English. So
Yeah.
that'll be fun.
Yeah, and Nintendo is like appointing a lot of, or they're like giving a lot of their IPs to like younger developers, like who still work for Nintendo, but they're like giving these younger developers a chance to be like, hey, like we're not gonna keep having like Eiji Aonuma make every Zelda game for the next like 15 years,
But they could.
Yeah, they could, but I
He's been
mean,
killing it.
some people say that the Aonuma games are not the best ones, even though he made like Ocarina and Breath of the Wild and all that, but like, there's always people who are like, oh well, Majora's Mask and the Oracle's games,
Yeah.
and, but yeah, so like Nintendo's making changes, but this is like another, I don't know, just boneheaded decision that it's just like, I don't know, they want to commit to their idea that they're like, oh, we're a family company, so we don't want people to like swear at your kids online, but it's like, I don't know, the kids are playing fucking Fortnite, like,
Yeah.
calling each other the N-word, even though they're like, 6 years old. It's whatever. Like, that's just how it's gonna be. I think this is more that, I don't know. I can't say that it's because Nintendo's just like a Japanese company, but like, I guess they're like a Japanese-facing company as opposed to Sony, which is like a global company. I don't know. It sounds dumb to say, but like, the way that like, I don't know. I feel like Nintendo still is one of those companies that puts a lot of stock into what like the Japanese audience has to say about their games and their like performance and everything.
Yeah.
Because the 3DS in Japan is like a fucking like, it's just like ubiquitous. Like everybody has them. They're all around the streets apparently, so I'm told.
On my
And
many
like
trips to
just because
Japan.
it's just like the culture of Japan, like that's where they think like people say like one of the big ideas for the Switch came from. It's just like because of the culture in Japan of like everybody's like walking around. There's such great public transportation. People are like always on the trains and shit and buses that like take you to places that you want to
That
go.
is what I've heard as well, yes.
So that
3DS
like
is
the
huge.
mobile, not just 3DS, but like the mobile market is like
Mhm.
a lot bigger there. And Nintendo's thinking about trying to compete with like cell phone games and not, because like cell phone games make a shit ton of money even compared to like traditional games companies like Xbox and PlayStation and all that. Like cell phone games make a lot of money.
For as much like development.
Yeah,
as-
because like they just have such a, their audience is everybody who has a cell phone. Like I'm sure you all know people who are like wouldn't call themselves like gamers, but they put like hours and hours into fucking Clash.
Yep.
Like holy shit, I know people at my work who are like they think that I'm a nerd because I play Persona, but it's like, dude, you play like as much as I play Persona, you play Clash of Clans. Like at fucking work, dude, do your goddamn job. No, but yes, I think Nintendo's like really concerned about like keeping up with the mobile market because that's where they think that's what happened with the Wii, that they were like targeting the casual market, and then cell phones with like games came out in like what was that, like 2006, 2007, like right around like a couple years after the Wii, and once the novelty of the motion controls wore off because they were actually pretty shitty in truth, then the casuals were just like, we'll just play on our phones just as good playing Candy Crush.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think it'll be interesting.
I mean,
I just always hope for the best for Nintendo because it's like to me, Nintendo is like what those like fucking Disney fanatics who are like they just never gave it up and they still go to see like all the Disney movies when they come out, and they go to Disneyland or Disney World like several times a year, every year.
Yeah.
It's like that's just me for Nintendo. Like it's like my Disney. It's just like the best shit of my childhood. Like all of my best memories are with Nintendo.
Gotta visit the Nintendo theme park, man.
Yeah, I really do want to go to that shit when it's open.
As exclusively as someone that plays PC, it's just I was hoping Switch would be the console that would finally like sell me on getting a console, but it just hasn't. Like it has all the right pieces in place hardware wise.
I feel like you might feel that way as a primarily PC player. I feel like you might feel that way about any console that is less than, let's say, like 2.5, 3 years old. Just because of the library of games. Like,
Yeah.
necessarily will not be that big, and you're
Yeah.
always going to be comparing it to PC. Because as growing up as a console player, but now as primarily a PC player, just, like, thinking about, like, I just bought a PlayStation, and just thinking about, like, what games am I going to play
But-
on PlayStation, you
so-
know? Because on my PC, like, I have so many fucking games that I'll never even fucking play. But on the PlayStation, I'm just like, okay, well, I'm definitely going to play Persona and Bloodborne and Spider-Man, so maybe it's worth buying a PlayStation. But you always have to, like, weigh it against that. But with the PC, like you already have the PC, so you're just thinking about the price of the games and stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, like, PC has the benefit of just having games. For
I'm just trying to say that I
literally-
understand
Yeah,
the way that you feel.
yeah. PC is just all around like that in terms of content as well. It's just if there was going to be a console in the current market that would convince me, it would be Switch.
I think what I'm
because
trying
of
to
its
say-
unique hardware and because it, in theory, should have a higher number of exclusives.
What I'm trying to say is that I think you will be more interested in the Switch in the future.
I hope
once
so.
more games are out.
That's
for
what
it.
I'm waiting for. Like
Yeah.
I want to like the Switch. I want to get a Switch, but
Yeah,
I
hope.
can't justify it.
Well, yeah, I hope they announce something crazy, but they can't announce anything too crazy because they already have Metroid Prime on the
Yeah,
thing
I mean,
and Pokemon.
They announced that the
Yeah.
Monster Hunter thing is coming over, which is
Yeah,
like
Monster
something that
Hunter
was,
is
like,
is
super-
kind of a big deal, I guess. I mean, I wonder what it'll be like because so you can't play. There can be like an audience for this that are like people who don't have another way to play Monster Hunter World, but
Yeah.
like they hear all the hype and they want to play it. People who have gotten into Monster Hunter World and I guess they think that they're like done with it for now until like some more DLC comes out, so they'll buy this.
I mean, okay, so we played a lot of Monster Hunters.
Yeah.
Would you
So we're
get-
saying Monster Hunter Generations
Ultimate
Ultimate.
Edition or-
In Japan, it's called Double Cross.
Yeah.
But it's like it's a more traditional Monster Hunter style game.
Yeah, it was Monster Hunter before Monster Hunter World came around. and
Yeah,
fucking-
yeah. This game came out before Monster Hunter World, and it's actually like it's called Generations because it's like it doesn't have like an original story, does it?
I don't think
But like you
so.
travel to all of the islands from like the previous games, and you fight all of the monsters from the previous games. So it doesn't have like a huge amount of new content,
Yeah,
but it has like all of the contents from the old games put into one.
I've
game.
heard the flagship monsters are really good though. And I mean, this game, like, if you compare it to World, World doesn't even stand a chance in terms of content, like end game grind. But it is also, I was watching the trailer of it, and just
Yeah.
going from World to
Yeah,
you fight
that's the
this-
thing. The gameplay is just so much better in World than it was in the old Monster Hunters. I mean, I haven't played Double Cross, but like,
Yeah,
just the world is so different from the way that the games were before. It's just so much more fluid. I think it makes the game a lot.
That's
More fun.
interesting in terms of like gameplay versus content. Just like going back a tiny bit to Destiny is for the lack of content that people complain about that is there. Like the value of a gameplay loop can just override like lack of content sometimes.
Right.
Like I don't care if there's new areas or new things to look at if the gameplay loop is as good as it can be, I guess.
Well,
It just,
I mean, it's not that it's gonna be a bad game. Like it'll be as
No,
good
I
as
don't
all the
think
other
it's gonna
Monster
be
Hunter
a bad
games, which
game.
are amazing.
But you're basically saying you would rather play World just because the gameplay loop is better, right? That is
I don't-
it's
I don't
more.
know if
You were
it-
saying it was more fluid, and
it is more fluid. But I mean, like, in terms of overall content, you get more with Double Cross.
I guess what I'm getting at is that a good gameplay loop for me can like override content in games. If the gameplay loop is strong enough, then I don't care if there's 8 dungeons or 4 dungeons.
I mean, I think with Generations, it introduced a lot more combat that's closer to Monster Hunter World than it is to like Monster Hunter.
Well, I
3
guess the other
Ultimate.
thing too is you haven't played Monster Hunter, right?
No, I
At
haven't.
all.
So like the whole thing with the gameplay loop is like fighting the monsters, right? Fighting new monsters.
Mm-hmm.
So as much like more fluid and more fun, I guess Monster Hunter World is, like fighting the same monsters over and over can get old, especially once you get to that end game and you have the
Yeah.
most powerful weapons, so you can just whip out the ones that like do the like you're just going for like speed runs at a certain point.
Oh,
you know?
really?
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
there's also like, if it's kind of to the point. They added some new things with like God, I forgot the name of it, but it was like a golden dragon looking thing that was supposedly really cool, and then the Devil Joe, obviously. But you get to a point where you hit end game, you beat the story, you beat the harder monsters, and it gets to the point where you grind out hard monsters, right, to have the chance of getting stuff to min-max your gear. But it's kind of like there's no real point in min-maxing other than to just say like how much stronger you are because you've already cleared basically all the
new content.
Yeah. So
but is that represented in any way? Like in an MMO like WoW or whatever, you get better gear, you min-max it, and now you're higher on a DPS meter, which is rewarding for some assholes like
No,
me.
I 100%. I really enjoy World, and I was more about the end game farming the same shit over and over. But I also like going from playing on a 3DS with Monster Hunter to going to World was just such a crazy step up that like I was constantly enjoying the combat. Where like I'm like a newer player that's never played Monster Hunter that just picked it up is like, this is the combat of Monster Hunter, but it's like you never went back to fucking try with that horrid goddamn combat.
Underwater fighting.
Jesus
oh my God.
Christ.
On a fucking
I literally-
3DS or on a regular. Was it a 3DS or was it
It was
a
a
regular DS?
It was, I think it was a 3DS.
3DS,
Or
one
some shit. I don't know.
joystick.
But like I had to buy the fucking attachment for your DS to like get a second joystick because of the underwater part. But what I was trying to say earlier with the with the trailer for Generations is seeing like a giant monster that you're supposed to be like, oh shit, that's crazy looking, and then it's just in a plain open field with like no textures or anything kind of going on, and it's just like, damn, this is an old game. Like, if there's like a Monster Hunter World Ultimate Edition, there's no point in playing a different Monster Hunter.
Yeah, I think also, do we know the release date on this?
Oh jeez.
Because it could be coming out around the time that Monster Hunter World comes out on PC.
That seems
And like
stupid.
one of the big things that I'm like hesitant to play this new Generations about is just like, I know I was trying to talk about like all the positives of the Switch, but it is like less powerful than even the PS4. And the PS4 for me gets like, you know, like frame drops to the point where I like think about like, you know, man, I can't wait to play this on PC with no frame drops, and like the loading screens don't take like 45 seconds.
Do we know when Monster Hunter World is coming out?
No, they said fall, I think.
Well,
But-
this is coming out on the 28th of August.
Okay, yeah.
So
So,
it's-
well,
Wow.
fall can mean November.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, kind of like based on what some of you guys have been saying about Monster Hunter World, I don't know if I really want to play it. If like the end game does devolve into like speed runs and there's no point to min maxing or no way to compare yourself with other players.
So-
There are leaderboards and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, like in terms of like if you do a run, does it tell you like with other players? Does it tell you how much damage you did or like how many
Sometimes.
kills?
So
or-
like, yeah. So at the end of a hunt, it'll give you awards, right?
okay,
And there's an award that's damage dealer, but you don't get it every time,
okay,
right? It's kind of like it's basically you fucking carried the fight.
okay.
You know what I mean? And it's like you did the most like if everyone's doing kind of equal damage or even a little bit in balance, it will
Yeah.
really show it to you. But if it's like this guy just did a fuck ton of damage.
But you can, like, you can see like numbers when you hit the monster.
Sure.
So you see those numbers go up every time you get like
I
a
just
new
want
weapon.
like going with WoW, you have a DPS meter, so that's how you compare like your progress. And then in Destiny, you have a score screen where it tells you how much damage you did to the raid boss and how many kills you got. So you have a way to
Well,
measure when you're min maxing.
Okay, so the reason why we're saying speedruns is because when the first time when you start this game and you go to fight like some monster for the first time, the fight will take you like 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
It's
And
very
as you
satisfying.
gear up, like you will beat monsters in like less than 10 minutes, less than 5 minutes, and that feels really good. That a monster that you used to struggle with now you just like they're nothing.
But once you're already at in game and you're min maxing, I assume that doesn't happen. Like you don't get that
So
difference.
You do get faster and better at fighting the monsters
It's
because
kind
of
of-
your
it's-
gear and because you learn the way that the monster works.
Yeah,
Sure.
it's what he was talking about. Like the monsters are way more fun to fight than like a lot of bosses in a lot of games. So it's very rewarding to be like, that move used to fuck me up, and now I know how to play against.
And
it.
there's so many ways that you can
Yeah.
fight the
Yeah.
monsters.
And then also with the PC release, people are speculating that they're also adding G rank. So right now there's low rank and high rank, right? G rank would be a rank above it that's usually reserved for like ultimate editions of games, and they have even harder monsters where it would be like, you know, I've got to min max my shit, otherwise this thing is just gonna fuck
Okay,
me up.
yeah.
So whether or not that's actually coming out with it,
yeah,
we'll
at
see.
at a high enough rank, if you're not min maxing, you will just get one shot.
Cool.
So
Yeah,
you
I mean
have to.
that's what
Yeah.
that's more along the lines of.
I'm
what-
not saying
Yeah.
like I've got the end game on lock and it's easy as fuck for me to farm.
Yeah.
the hardest tier shit. I mean, I remember I was playing with Scotty, I want to say, and we were doing they're called Tempered, but it was a Tempered Kieran, which is just the name of something. And
Electric Horse.
that fucking thing whooped my ass.
That's like one of the hardest monsters in the world.
Yeah, it was just like people literally build whole different builds just to fight the one fucking monster.
Sure.
Because it's like such a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
That's kind of just like you've either got to play safe, be good, or have like an anti-Kieran build just to deal with the damn thing. But I mean, and then also it's a game as a service or whatever the fuck. They're adding new monsters. So the Devil Joe is even harder than like Tempered. So Tempered is kind of the G rank of Monster Hunter World, but not really. So the Tempered Elder Dragons are like the hardest monsters right now, right? But then they added the Devil Joe and a Tempered Devil Joe, and then they added another thing, and I'm sure there's a tempered version of
So
that.
this has like expansions. Does it have like these are also just patched in through updates, right?
Yeah, free updates.
Is the PC version just already going to have this stuff in, or is there going to be like a progression through?
That's what
different
people are
updates?
assuming. They're going to just have it in.
Okay.
I mean, whether or not they do, because like I said,
Are there any catch-up mechanics of any kind, or is it pretty much just linear from beginning to end?
I mean, it's kind of linear. Like, why would you want to catch up? It's not like WoW where you have to be at end game grinding.
Well, I mean, okay, Destiny's game as a service, and like when they raised the soft cap for power, I know there's probably not equivalent in Monster Hunter World, then it gets easier to get up to powers that was harder for people before the expansion that came out. So there's like a catch-up mechanic in that regard. It doesn't have to be an MMO.
The
to
only
have a
catch-up mechanic it would have is you queue up with somebody that's way
Yeah,
more
you can
geared
get
than you,
boosted.
and they carry you.
Okay.
Because like Monster Hunter is all about like you're fucking this. I really want to play Monster Hunter right now, but like
You're making me want to play it. I
Like-
mean, I love the idea of a big problem I have with MMOs now is it's vertical progression, but then every 3 or 4 months they release an update that gives a catch-up mechanic, making newer players able to catch up to where you're at in a quarter of the time.
it's
And
not
I'm
like
just
that.
making sure Monster Hunter World.
it's always like, I mean, it kind of depends. Because like if you want to be the most efficient at using a longsword, right? You're gonna
do.
have like 6 different longswords with like different elements because that monster's weak to that and that monster's weak to that. And then on top of that, you're gonna have different armor sets because like I said, the Kieran, right? It does electric damage, so you want a lot of lightning resistance, right? But now if you want to fight a fucking Anjanath, right? That dude does a lot of fire damage, so you want to have a fire resistance set. So it's kind of just like if you want to become the most efficient at fighting each monster, then there's a lot.
There's no like wardrobe or transmog system in Monster Hunter, right? Like you wear what you earn.
Okay, kinda, because like you can buy an outfit, like a DLC outfit,
Sure.
right? And that's kind of transmog. But as far as like customization, there's just like color. Like you
Okay.
can change the color of your equipped gear. Because I mean, it's kind of like I really actually disliked when WoW went from, you could see what people had on to transmog.
Yeah, I fucking hate that shit.
Because
with
it's
a
like
passion.
it was like, yo, that guy has the fucking
Yeah, correct.
heroic Ulduar piece of shit. That guy's a badass. And now it's just like, oh, you're dressed up as a dude in your underwear, but you're in straight up mythic gear. Okay.
I extra
Yeah.
hate WoW for it because the epic looking gear that you get from Mythic Raiding or whatever in the current expansion doesn't necessarily look cooler than the old raid gear that you can just solo. So like there's no visual progression in WoW. It's been totally lost and I hate that shit.
Yeah,
so
I mean, I
much.
guess it's kind of hard though, because like, how do you keep making new, crazy, cool-looking gear that looks badass? Like,
you just don't have transmog and you're just like forced to every expansion you're either forced to wear like your shitty quest gear and look like a fucking idiot or
you have a green
you
helmet.
raided and you've
Yeah.
earned the new awesome gear.
Yeah, it's cool because it's like in Monster Hunter, you can wear the powerful gear that like works well but like looks stupid, or you can do like fashion hunting and like you're gonna get one shot but you look fucking cool.
you look
so
cool as shit. I mean, it's
As long as
just,
there's a punishment, I
It's-
guess.
yeah, that's how it
and
is.
WoW,
It's
there's
just
no
like-
punishment. Like,
Oh,
you
yeah,
just,
yeah.
you wear underwear and do a mythic raid, and it's like whatever, it doesn't matter.
it's also just like super interesting and like creating a new build because like you don't have to use just one weapon, so it's kind of like I want to do this weapon with whatever. So like, I mean, the greatsword, right? You can kind of there's two standard builds with it, and one of them is like you just do a shit fucking ton of damage whenever you like charge up and swing and draw your weapon. So you hit the monster like not even half as many times as like a different weapon, but you do like 5 times as much damage when you actually hit the damn thing. But there's also like great swords that are more focused on like hitting the monster consistently and doing damage that way. Or like there's a fucking build where like you just get a whole lot of points in like sleep, and you just put the monster to sleep way faster than other people.
So
and, like you hit it then. I don't know.
now that you guys are now that we're on this, what made you guys fall off of it?
So when we played, the Devil Joe wasn't out, and then the new monster wasn't out. And then also it was a combination of Sirius didn't have a PS4 at the time, so he couldn't really play. And Scotty was the only one that was up to where I was in terms of endgame. So it's kind of like I was playing solo.
Is playing with randoms not ideal?
Well, that's just personally for me.
Okay.
I don't like League of Legends, love the damn game. I don't solo queue.
Okay,
So
that's fair.
It's just a personal thing.
Yeah, I don't mind playing with random players. So if that's what made you fall off, then
Yeah.
that shouldn't happen to me.
100%. And then I mean also hopefully they have more content when it
Yeah.
comes to PC. And also it'll be at 60 FPS.
And just because we're still talking about games as a service, I did want to bring up one thing in Destiny that's really cool. It's basically just a fancy looking for member system, but it's called Guided, or like Guide, and you can either queue up for a raid as a guide or a seeker. If you're a guide, then it's 3 to 5 people in your guild looking for two randoms, 2 pugs. It's basically finding pugs, but because it's required, like I did it as a seeker. I was just trying to find a guild to play with. They brought me in, and since it's forced voice chat, like by the end of it, 5 hours, they like invite me to their clan, and I just like ended up with a great group to play with.
That's cool.
And I mean, it was just a weird, like, it's a simple LFM feature, but it worked in such a way where like first raid, first group got a clan with a schedule that was like I've never had raiding be so like accessible.
I mean, Destiny 2 always seems, or Destiny in general, just seems like a game that if you are the kind of person that would enjoy it, then it's like your game, you know? Like,
I mean, do you like Halo?
I
Do
mean,
you like loot?
yeah, but I mean, I also don't.
I mean, I want to play it, but I
don't want to spend all the
support
money
Bungie.
constantly to like. I don't want to be like barred off of content every other month that I have to like pay for.
It's like every 6 or 7 months you drop $20. I don't know. It's not.
I mean,
that
I guess
big of a
that's
deal.
valid. It's
Yeah.
just kind of like a personal.
Yeah, it's not like a monthly.
No, it's not a monthly fee, and the cash shop's really on it. I mean, it really is buy to play, and then you might spend maybe $30 on this.
I guess what I
a
heard
year.
from Destiny 1 was like there was a whole lot of complaints in terms of just like it's DLC and all like there's a ton of DLC, and if you don't buy it all, then you're kind of just like hampering yourself. So
Yeah.
it was like worth it to wait
And maybe-
to get the Taken King edition. Or
And
whatever.
maybe towards the end, like Destiny 2 will be the same way, but like I said, right now it's $47 for
Yeah,
the whole
that's the thing that
package,
you're
and
talking
then in
about.
7 months you drop another 20.
No, I
maybe.
get it. I'm
Yeah,
just-
you're talking about like waiting to get the complete edition, but the complete edition when it comes out is going to be like 50,
It's gonna be
60
50 or
bucks,
60.
right?
Yeah,
so
but
right
if
now
you-
we're talking about spending $47 for the full
And
game
then
as it
paying
is right
20
now.
later on, and then maybe you're at
Yeah.
67 instead of 60, but you get to play it
This
now.
much earlier.
Yeah, it
Right,
just,
right. I
it's-
guess if that's like super important to you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not super important. It's just a fun game. I mean,
Yeah, especially to play like it's obviously better to play like MMOs when they're popular, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
right now it's having a boom, so right now it's probably a good time to be in the Destiny.
yeah,
2.
right now I'm like riding the power curve with everyone else. Everyone's around the same power. Everything is super challenging. Like 5 hours on a raid, wiped 40 times.
Yeah.
So
You get
much fucking
into
fun.
like lobbies with like other people who have as much experience as you do, and not
Yeah.
like people just playing the game. to
It's
death.
it's just like playing any MMO on any big patch launch. It's
How long have you been playing Destiny 2?
it's been about a week and a half, something like that.
All right, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, if I'm
Max.
still playing 2 weeks,
It's kind of like it's an MMO and you've been playing for a week and a half, which isn't really like.
yeah, it's an MMO, but it's not, right? Like, I already feel like I got my $47 worth. I could stop playing tomorrow and be like, I got my $47 worth.
I also feel like you are way more on board. I could be 100% off base, but like I feel like you're way more. I will spend. I'm.
This
trying
is
to
the guy
think
who,
of a way to
who
word
turned
this.
his opinion, or not turned his opinion, but tried to tell us all that Battlefront 2 was totally good too. Or whatever the
Well-
fuck it was.
Yeah, it's like you are more willing to spend money and then get less hours than I am. Does that make sense?
I guess it just depends on the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much hours do you need out of $60?
Well, it depends on the game. Cause like
Okay.
So
yeah.
like Dark Souls, right? I drop $60 on because I know like I'm gonna run through the game a couple times with different builds, right? So I'll get
Sure.
like, I guess my comparison is like $1 an hour for some reason. Like that's kind of what I'm gunning for. That's not always true because like $60 story games are gonna be 60 hours long. Except if it's Persona 5, which is a really good game. But I don't know. Just in general, I'm kind of like, if I'm gonna spend $47, right? I'd like to get like 30 plus 40 hours.
Okay, I would say with Destiny 2 right now, and why I'm saying that I got my money's worth is because I've had it for a week and a half, but I've probably put in 40 hours.
Yeah.
Like, I've got my 40 hours out of a $47 game. It's some of the best shooting in the genre, period. I don't know, other than, like, Doom, which Doom
have
is the holy grail of, like, shooting mechanics.
I know
but,
you've kind of been hanging on Destiny 2 for a while, but like, have you done the PvP?
yeah, PvP is not great.
Okay, which is like what I would do.
PvP is not great.
I've heard that there's like no difference.
It's fun. It just depends how serious you are about it. If it's
That's
just
why I
like
would
extremely
wanna play it,
serious. I'm a MLG Destiny 2 competitive FPS.
it's
player.
fun. I mean, it plays like kind of like Halo, but not Halo. It's not better than Halo. It's probably a little worse than Halo, but it's fine. It's like it's not the focus of the game.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a reason to buy the game.
No, it would not be a reason by the game. It is first and foremost a co-op loot shooter. It should be viewed as something closer to Division or like Borderlands than
Remember
to
when we were
like
playing
competitive
Borderlands?
Halo.
Oh, dude, yeah, I saw somebody. I was playing.
Oh, Borderlands 3.
Is
That's
that
a thing.
Is
coming
that
out?
coming out?
It was one of the things leaked on Canadian Walmart.
I wonder if it'll be any good.
It'll be a game as a service.
What's up-
It's going to have DLC every 3 months. It's going to be online with lobbies.
What turned me off of
Call
Borderlands 2 was honestly the humor.
It's not funny.
It was like you've played the game, right?
A little bit.
Here on this podcast, we talk about 50-year-old games.
Oh my god.
But I don't know. It was just like
Yeah, it's not funny.
it's not.
It's like that
funny.
lol so random humor
Yeah.
that like was funny when you were in 6th grade.
Okay, if you play the game and you're like middle school, high school.
Yeah, and you have the nostalgia for it, but it's just like not funny. I guess the main thing it does is like a problem I have like with the like some of the Joss Whedon superhero movies.
Yeah.
Where it's just like everybody is witty and like cracks a joke.
Yeah.
Everybody. There's no serious character in the whole game who like never cracks a joke.
Yeah.
Well, if you only have one serious character, then it sticks out like a sore thumb, though.
Yeah, but
it's
it
hard- it's
also
hard to
gets
play that.
fucking
But that would be
really
funny,
tiring.
though.
Yeah, it also gets really tiring when everyone is like a smartass.
Yeah.
Everybody. They're like that's the thing. It's like every character was written by the same guy who only knows how to write one character.
Yeah.
Everybody is like has the same kind of smartass humor or like lol so random. Like those are the two kinds of jokes it makes.
So I've got a question, Matt, and this is probably like hard for you to answer, but you've played Warframe.
Yes.
And you played Destiny 2.
Sure.
What is your thoughts on people saying Warframe's just a better Destiny?
Um,
I know you didn't get super far in Warframe, and you haven't played it in a long
I
time.
know. I think the best kind of analogy for this would kind of be Diablo 3 versus Path of Exile in an extent.
So it's just like feel versus.
I think the gameplay loop in Destiny. Keep in mind, like, I feel like the gameplay in Destiny has a larger impact on you than like how good the combat is in Diablo 3. Like, I cannot state how good the shooting is in Destiny 2. It is like Doom level shooting, but online.
Okay, so
It's fucking
I
great.
disagree because like I played the beta, and while I enjoyed it, and maybe they changed some crazy shit, but I mean the shooting was fine. It was serviceable, but it wasn't like
I think it's above serviceable. I mean, I think it's
why. It's just there's nothing. There's no. Like half of people are wielding a fucking pistol, right? Like
no. I mean, you choose what weapon you want to use, and certain guns are better than others. I got a gun called Sunshot, which is like this hand cannon,
But that's
fittingly a pistol.
that's the fucking meme though. Is that everybody's using Sunshot?
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I have no idea if that was a meme. Anyway, I got it, and it all of a sudden, whenever I killed an enemy, it created that enemy to explode, and then it'd make another enemy explode, and that enemy would explode, and it was like this wave of destruction that was like really fucking cool in the raid. The shooting's just, I mean, if you don't like the shooting, I guess it's ultimately subjective in that regard. I just personally find it to be like, I'd take the shooting in Destiny 2 over basically any other game
pretty
other than Doom.
common praise, I think, that people
Yeah.
give to Destiny 2, that the gunplay is especially good.
And I think that gunplay has more of an impact on the player than like how good the combat is in Diablo 3. I think the combat in Diablo 3 is great. I don't think it's like as impactful as Destiny 2. So that analogy between like D3 and Path of Exile only works up to a point. But I do think Warframe is the better long-term and more complex game. But I still
Right.
don't want to understate how fucking great
That's
the gameplay
weird
is in
that
Destiny.
that is a common praise because I haven't heard that, right? But B, I just
It's weird.
Bungie. I mean, yeah, but it's not really Bungie. It's just Bungie.
Yeah,
It's not
but they cock up everything else about the game, but like they know how to make the guns like
It feels
play well,
really good.
because
So-
it's like, so it's
well,
not the guys who made like Halo 1, 2, and 3, but there are people there who worked on like Reach and ODST, which still had really good
Yeah.
gunplay. Even the newer and like so like I don't know what the fuck I'm trying to say. Like they have the engine still, you know. They have all that shit.
I
so,
wasn't
like-
saying that that's a wrong,
Yeah.
I was-
I'm
I
just
was-
saying I'm surprised that you're surprised by that.
Well,
That they would
because
fuck up everything about the game.
No, I'm
you
not
know?
saying that they fucked up everything. I'm not saying that the core gameplay is or like the shooting is bad. I'm just saying it wasn't anything that I was like, this is crazy. You know,
I
like,
think it's.
I
mean,
think it's really good. I still remember just from playing the demo how much I loved, and we only played PvP.
It's just
how much I
so
loved it.
satisfying.
Yeah.
See, that's what was interesting to me because like I haven't heard that praise other than from you, and then I didn't feel that way. So,
I can't think of a single shooter other than Doom that even is comparable.
Did you guys play
Halo.
that
And
Halo?
Halo.
Did you guys play that Halo 3 like
No.
Halo Online shit?
We talked
like,
about it.
playing it online, like playing that game is like reminded me like how much fun I used to have playing
Yeah.
fucking Halo Online because of like the way that the guns work in that game. Like just being able to like snipe people, like just like pop their heads off. It feels so good.
Yeah.
And the battle rifle fights are like so like exactly the way that it was on the Xbox, and like I don't know, that's just like I always liked it better. Like even when Call of Duty became like the more popular FPS and I started playing that, and after like Halo 3, basically like I never felt like it was as much fun in the way that Halo was, you know. Call of Duty was more like of a
Yeah.
I don't know, it's a different kind of game.
And
than Halo.
Destiny retained some of like
Yeah.
the ridiculousness and fun of Halo. Like there's just something really satisfying when you're like floating through the air using your jetpack, and below you there's a group of enemies, and you throw down your solar grenade, which also like my gear like makes it like instantly explode or whatever, or have some additional effect, and you throw that grenade down and it just like takes out
I
the
think
entire
maybe it's a little
wave.
slower. Maybe that's why it's so good. Because
Yeah.
like the other games have like suffered from like the movement creep, you know, because that's like the thing to do now, you know, since like Titanfall that everyone loved, like do the parkour, everyone has a jetpack, you can do rolls and shit, you know, but like Halo, like you couldn't even sprint in Halo, you know, and you can sprint in Destiny. And you have like a jetpack, right? Like
Yeah.
a little double jump, but it's not like super crazy fast. I don't think, especially
Yeah.
compared
And you
to
can
other
modify
shooters.
your jetpack too.
Yeah.
You can either like have more directional control. You can do a catapult jump where you jump really quick. You can hover. There's just so many ways to like customize that gameplay and see it immediately reflected in the game that I really like. But as terms of a shooter, I can't. I don't know. I love it, and that goes back to like when I think the gameplay loop is strong enough, and like or in the case of Destiny, the shooting is that strong. I don't care that there's only 3 raids. I will redo those raids. I will redo any scenario. I don't care if the walls are the same color as the 3 other things, as long as that core gameplay loop is good enough. I can keep playing that
I
content.
guess we'll just have to check in next.
Yeah, and I'll check back in 2 weeks and see where I'm at
Buy
with
the
it.
$12 version of Destiny and just wait for the DLC to go on sale.
Could do that as well.
What
I'm thinking about it.
Oh.
I don't know. I want to play it.
I don't know. I mean, it'll be weird.
It might not be $12 again. So I mean, that was ultimately like what got me started on this whole thing. Is I got an email or something that was like Destiny for $12. And I was like, what? Fuck.
Yeah.
Of
So
course,
what'd you-
of course
this whole
I'm
month,
buying this
yeah.
for $12.
What did you get out of the $12?
You get the main campaign.
Which I heard was average.
The story is not great. again, shooting. There's another example of like shooting so good. I don't fucking care. I don't care if the story is lame when I'm just like
To
the
be
core
fair,
game.
story in Halo is really good.
That is fair.
The first 3 ones.
Story in Destiny 2
Goes off
is
the
like
rails after
garbage. I would not say anyone thinks the story in Destiny 2 is anything special. But you get 15 to 20 hours of campaign. You can do the PvP with basically no limitations because it scales everything. So you can just join PvP as it is in the game. You can run the first raid. You can do a bunch of strikes. But keep in mind, once you hit 300 power, you're going to be capped there. But you can still do some in-game activities to get 300 power. But when you get 300 power is when you're going to be tempted to buy the DLC.
So, is there a point doing the raids when, like, they're probably, like, for example, should I do the raids or should I just buy the DLC and do the next, I'm guessing it has, like, another story?
So, yeah, there's more story. Yeah.
So it's like, will the story gear be better than the raid gear?
Not necessarily. With the power cap at 300, then things are just going to start dropping at 300 for you. But you can have that raid gear. Destiny has a cool thing where you infuse more powerful gear into weaker gear, and it'll bring that weaker gear up to that power level.
I guess what I'm trying to say is it like the WoW thing where you're talking about because people are 2 DLC expansions ahead, right?
Oh, so that's another thing I really like about Destiny. The raids all kind of get like scaled up, or you get scaled down to make them still challenging. All raid content right now is current. Nothing gets outdated. Everything in the game that they've released up to this point, you can get rewards for your level at.
Okay.
So nothing becomes obsolete,
All right.
which is like really refreshing.
But I mean, like, do you run a certain raid because it drops a certain item that you want, or is it kind of like it just drops tier 300 shit all across the board?
If you get capped at 300 at the end of the expansion, again, like, yeah, you might run it for shit you want, or it might be like cosmetic.
What level are you right now?
347.
Okay.
And the hard cap 385. I played about 5 or 7 hours yesterday and went from 345 to 347. So it's hard, and they added longevity to this game.
So the power is like your item score, right?
yeah, it's your gear.
But so that kind of seems like Monster Hunter World, where it's like, you know, once you hit cap, you can farm out the fucking crystals that drop so goddamn rare to like upgrade your gear. But I mean, like, is there a point to be 380?
That's why I was asking about like score screens or damage meters or whatever. The point for me personally is so when I go into a raid, I see bigger damage on the boss for myself. I see more kills. Beyond that, it's really hard to progress past 345. The recommended power for the newest raid is 370. So it's pretty exclusive. No one's cleared it yet. It's been a week and a half, and no one's even close to clearing the new raid.
But is that because the raid's hard, or just because it takes so long to get
The raids are extremely hard. I was running a recommended 300 power raid last night with all 350 people. It took us 5 hours. Whereas in game like WoW or whatever, where like you want people in voice chat, if they know the fight, they don't really need
Well,
to
it
be.
depends on the difficulty.
Even on Mythic, like if you know the fight, you don't have to be on voice chat. Like people are just AFK clearing Mythic without voice chat if they
Like
know the
now?
fight. Yeah,
Yeah, because they've run Mythic before.
sure. And my point.
That's what he's saying. Once you know the fight.
And-
Right, but I'm saying, like, you're also Mythic geared. It's not like you just know the fight, now you can do it.
And
It's
no.
because you're, like, basically
in
out-gearing the raid.
Destiny, though, no matter how far or how long it's been, you have to use voice chat.
So, like,
There is
but is
no
there, like-
way around it.
Is there, like, a difficulty setting? Like, can I run Heroic?
There is Prestige, there's Normal Raid, and then Prestige Raid.
And what's the point of running Prestige? Just Prestige.
Fatter fucking loot, and, like, different crazy guns that do totally unique things.
Okay, so it's like
and-
a harder difficulty, but it gives you better rewards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's all really intelligently done, which is surprising. I was not expecting to get to this end game and be like, wow, this fixes a lot of things that like I've had issue with in other MMOs. But it like does a lot of weird like MMO stuff that's smart.
That's cool.
It's
I mean,
weird.
I think it's interesting that, like, Destiny, you think of Destiny 2 so highly when you prioritize like a lot of depth and like content.
Yeah, and it's not it's weak on depth and content, like most people say. It's just the gameplay is so good that I don't care. It's like if Doom like had fucking raids with 6 other people, and you were like
Yeah, I mean,
playing
a raid
Doom.
sounds fun.
Bro, there's
Yeah.
no like I played Doom and I played Destiny 2, and like Doom was way better in terms of shooting mechanics.
I agree that Doom is better. I don't know about way better. Very
infinitely
subjective.
better. 500
Infinitely-
steps
whoa.
ahead.
See, I don't know
of
about
Destiny
I don't
2.
know about all that.
God, dude, this has been a Destiny 2 Monster Hunter podcast.
Whatever, man. Games as a service is here. We're all gonna be playing 2 games in the future.
Let me tell you about some not games as a service. Motherfucking Persona 5.
Yeah, how's
Hell
that
yeah.
going?
I
Let's hear
paid $32 for it,
Preach.
Oh, nice.
and I got the whole fucking game.
Ooh,
So,
no DLC?
Yeah, no DLC. Yeah, the game's fantastic. I like coming into it. I feel like I'm having a different experience because I already played Persona 3 and 4. So a lot of people, it's like their first Persona game. Like, oh, this is so great, this is so great. And to me, it's just like, hey, this is so great. Because it's just like everything that's in the old Persona games, but better, and then some new shit that's better. I was trying to think about like what I dislike about the game so far, and I thought of one thing, but I can't remember what it was because it was so like nitpicky that I was
Yeah.
really like sitting there trying to think about like what am I going to talk about?
It's
It's
just-
not good in this game.
Dude, I'm like really glad you were saying, you know, a lot of people, you just think it's good because it's your first Persona game. And it was my 1st Persona game. And, you know, when I had it and you guys didn't, I was like, I thought it was really good, but it was like,
Yeah.
was it really good as a Persona game, or was I
Yeah.
just like, did I just miss out? And I'm glad that, you know, Scotty has it, but he's not mic'd up. I'm really glad that you guys both think it's like a really fucking just good Persona game.
It's just like it's got like the perfect gameplay loop. Like you just
And
wanna.
that
It makes
music,
you.
dude.
Yeah, the music is so fucking good, and it just makes you want to keep playing. Like every time you get to like the end of the day, you're like thinking about what you can do the next day. So as soon as you like start the next day, you're like, okay, I can fucking do this shit finally.
I felt like a schoolboy in Japan, or I
Like
forget where it
actually,
takes
like
place.
to me, the most fun part of the game is after you clear the palace and you just have 2 weeks to
You
just
plan
like
it out.
spam
Yeah.
like your relationships and your
Yeah.
stats. It's just like the combat's awesome. Raiding the palace is a lot of fun, but and like making new personas are fun. But it's just like, nah, I just want to like study in the library,
Yeah,
try to read a book on the
It's
subway.
raining. Holy shit!
Yeah.
I gotta study.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's just like if you like to see meters go up and then it gives you a little ding, that's your game, man. It's
you
just
like
like
Cookie
so
Clicker.
good.
Is it? Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds like a clicker game.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's so good.
It's really fun.
If I had a PS4 or if the PS3 emulation catches up,
I think you can. That's like I think Persona is the reason why PS3 emulation is
is
in
it
place
like
that
the
it is
Breath
right
of the
now.
Wild of the Sea
Yeah.
emulator?
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
yeah. Persona 5 on the PS3 emulator because Persona 5 came out on PS3.
What's what's Persona 4 Golden on? Is that PSP? Is it on?
Oh no, Persona Golden is on Vita.
And then I think a version. I've looked at this before because I looked at it playing. I think a version released on PS3 as well. There's different versions. There's like the gold.
No,
and then-
there's no version of it on PS3, but
It says
there's
Persona 4 PlayStation 3.
I know at one point I was like digging deep.
Oh,
for, like,
you can buy it. Yeah, you can buy it on the virtual store on the PS3.
Okay, I know at one point.
But
I was
it's
like,
not Golden. It's the OG version.
What's the difference between Golden?
So Golden has a different ending, and it has a like 1 or 2 extra confidants. They're not called that in Persona 4, but
Yeah.
social links.
yeah.
Yeah, so it has like a couple extra ones. It has a different ending.
Like a better ending?
I don't know. Oh, and I think it also has like a epilogue chapter, like more gameplay after the story ends.
this sounds like a game I need to like sit on a couch and on a TV to
Yeah.
play. But
Yeah.
so I don't know. I'm moving into a new apartment in like a month, so maybe then.
You should just play Persona 3 or 4 on emulator
Yeah,
instead of waiting because like if you really want to play the games because like
I'm not
Persona
dying to play
5
them, but I'm curious.
Persona 5 is really good. I don't even know if I would say it's like immensely better than 3 or 4 though. Like it is better because they just added more like systems into the game and they streamlined stuff that was like kind of clunky in the older ones. But like the core of the gameplay is the same and it's still a lot of fun. Like the combat is pretty much the same. They added in like I don't know if it's like because I'm playing on normal difficulty, maybe if you play on harder, you can't use the assist thing where you just like push a button and it tells you how to use the like it puts your cursor on the most powerful move you can use. But that's fine because like you can't do that if you don't already know what the weakness is. So it kind of streamlines the combat that way. And like they've changed it so that in Persona 5, like in Persona 3 and 4, when you are like going through the dungeon, you can only use the powers of the people that are in your party. So you can't be like, oh, I'll just leave like Morgana outside and use him to heal me, and he never comes into the fights. I just use him as a heal bot, you know. But in the other ones, like you have to just use the 4 people that you bring, even though you have like a choice of like 8 or 9. So like they've like made the game like easier in some ways, but also it's like, well, is it really better, you know, to make the game like have more of a hassle around some things? The way that the rating is like they kind of split up mementos and the old dungeons, because in the old dungeons in 3 and 4, like the way that it works is like you don't go to like different palaces. There's just like one tower, and you just climb up floors, and eventually you'll come to a boss that's basically like a stat check. That's just like you are not getting past here until you're like level 50, you know. So it's like, so you can just go back down and keep fighting monsters forever. Like there's no time limit. Like once you go in there for a day, you don't have to leave till you just run out of SP and you can't heal anymore.
I mean, I heard that in Persona 5, unless you really want to, you don't have to grind at all.
Yes, that's really good about Persona 5. I feel like I have not grinded a whole lot. Like I feel like there's sometimes like I'm on a floor and I'm like, I'm just gonna kill everybody on here. Like I could run past a couple, but I'm just gonna make sure I get everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Persona 4 and Persona 3, there were times where like you can definitely come up and be under level, but that's like, I don't know, it's not such a bad thing to be under leveled and have to grind a little bit, especially in like a JRPG. It's like that's what you're playing the game for, right?
Yeah, no, I enjoy it. I feel like it would be worse if it was like, hey, you need to grind, but also it takes time out of your day.
Are these games challenging at all, or are they just kind of JRPG face roll type?
I would say they're challenging.
They're challenging.
It depends. Like, cause
so like my idea of like the difficulty of the game is kind of different because I know how a lot of the systems work already. So like a lot of the challenge comes from like learning how it all works.
And also you can change the difficulty at the beginning.
Yeah, you can change the difficulty. It'll make the AI smarter.
And then there's like a super hard mode that you have to like. It's free DLC, but you know you can download that. And then there's also like a hidden boss at some point that's like supposed to be really fucking hard.
Cool.
I haven't gotten to it.
Yeah.
Damn.
So Persona 5 is good, and I like everything about it. I want to play it right now. I have important things to do, but I'd rather just play Persona.
Yeah, I just want to play Destiny.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to do in Destiny today, but I want to play Destiny.
Yeah, I want to get Destiny now. And
it's worth $12.
yeah, that's what like it's only gonna be $12 for like
play
a couple more weeks.
$12, play the campaign, do a little bit side stuff. Worst case scenario, you're out $12 and you got some good fucking Halo gameplay out of it. Worst case scenario, you're tempted to spend $35.
It's a game I can also convince my brother to get, and we can play that together.
Yeah, no, I will say for the campaign, which would make it better, is my girlfriend and I played the entire campaign together. We only started going a little bit separate ways now that we're both at end game and our power's barely going up.
Yeah.
Like, because we're not going to get too far apart and we're all doing the same activities anyway. But I did play the entire campaign co-op, which made it a lot better. So.
Yeah. So you guys should get it. We can play the campaign, dude.
Yeah, guys.
Well, I don't even want to play it with Ian, so who cares?
I'm shaking my head for our audio listeners.
Get Destiny. Well, I got a clan. We're gonna raid, guys. It's gonna be
I
great.
always wanted to be in a clan. They
Matt,
wouldn't let me join the ones around
gonna be
here.
great.
If you buy me Destiny 2 and
I'm
all
not
the
gonna
DLC,
buy you
I'll
fucking
play it.
Destiny 2.
No way I'm playing
You
it,
can
dude.
scrounge up $12 worth of quarters.
Well,
it's
boys,
possible.
we did it.
We did another podcast.
Episode
Another one in the
16.
books. A legendary podcast for the ages. Let's see you next time to talk about what's
Destiny
happening.
2 and
more
Monster
Destiny
Hunter
2.
World.
I'm gonna keep playing Persona. Maybe some more leaks for E3 will come out.
We're gonna get
Champions
to
League
Pillars
final.
of Eternity next time.
Yeah, I forgot.
FA Cup final. World Cup starts in 1 month from today.
That is so
Mark
exciting.
your calendars to wake up at 8 a.m. to watch Saudi Arabia versus Russia. The first game gonna be a fucking snoozer.
Sports.
Um,
The only sport I care about is car soccer, but it sounds pretty good.
I saw an ad for Rocket League at the movie theater.
dope.
I saw one too before Infinity War.
Yeah, before
Yeah,
Infinity War.
there was an ad for
fucking
Rocket
serious?
League.
Oh my god, that's
Yeah.
amazing. That makes me really excited.
It was weird. It's like the coolest new sport. And I was just like, what is happening?
It is the coolest new sport.
Like, I
That's
heard
what
the
I've been saying for
fucking-
3 years.
I heard
No one
the-
believes me, but now they'll believe
What do you mean
me.
nobody
There are
believes
dozens
you.
of us.
There are dozens of us.
Everybody fucking loves Rocket League.
Rocket League is like going to be what dominates the Olympics in 2042.
Oh my
You
God,
guys don't
okay.
even know.
Let's turn off the podcast
There's really
before
an
this guy
ad?
goes off on some
There's really
fucking
an ad?
tangent.
That's
Just gotta
so
fade
exciting.
out. Matt can't stop.
An
We
ad
have to
before
fade out of
Infinity
the.
War. An ad before Infinity War. That's so exciting.
I wonder how I faded out in editing.
We're gonna find out.
Hell yeah.
All right. Bye bye, folks.